All right, I kind of got confirmation that I can be heard, so I'm gonna move forward. I don't know. These last couple of times, it's been kind of acting crazy on me, or I'm getting old and forget hell how I was doing it before. Anyway, welcome to a nice little show, and presented by Racist Entertainment. Uh, of course, whoever may see this video later or whatever may look and or even look at the channel and wonder what he mean by racist. You can check out the first video I ever did on racist entertainment, and it'll give a full explanation of what I mean by racist. So I won't go into detail with that right now because today's topic thing I'm gonna speak about seems to be very controversial, but very very important to me. For some reason, I don't know what's going on with this thing, man. Usually I can hear it myself off my phone. Okay, I hear it now. Usually okay. I can hear it myself. All right. Well, anyway, the topic that I'm speaking about is rap music, threat that it is to the national security and what President Trump and his administration plan on doing about it. You know, some I brought this up to a friend of mine, and he was like, "Man, bro, you crazy. You stretching it. You're going too far. You know what I mean?" But when you be around, when you pay attention to politics, what I mean, or the way people do things or have done things throughout the history of this country in relations to you know blacks, African American, whatever you want to call it. You know, a lot of times they don't just outright say what it is that they're going to do or whatever. They try to work it in the agenda in some subtle way, some subversive way. You know, and it be laws passed or executive orders passed that you know you have no idea even existed. You know what I mean? So, and one of the key things why I say rap is a threat to national security is because when we look at the lyrical content of rap and the influence that rap has on this society, you would be hard pressed to say that rap or a sub genre of rap plays a major role. Hey, sexy trap, how you doing? Plays a major role in the proliferation of violence, crime, murder, drug dealing, all of these things. You know, and I've done lives before, and people know me. I tell them time and time again, I've been around rap, man, my entire life. You know what I mean? Through every phase of it. Whether the conscious phase when they got into gangster rap, when rappers really start having money, what I mean, all the way into this drill and everything, and promoted shows and been around big name artists, all type of stuff, even in my younger years, being in New York, would see different artists, things of that nature. But so I basically was raised in rap, and I've seen the evolution of it, and I've also seen how it has kind of gotten away from the foundation of what rap is all about, what hip hop is all about. And the reason why I say that rap is a national security threat, I pay attention to this administration, man. We're living in some days and times now of unprecedented things that you know these things that never happened before. We've never seen before. When it comes to the president, when I was growing up, we always had a respect for whoever held that office. You know what I mean? In some form or fashion, whether they were lying or not, they at least tried to make it seem like they want to unify, you know what I mean? Whereas we living in a day now to where we don't see that. It's clear cut that look, I'm over here, my people over here, whether they're MAGA or whether they're white or whatever it is, and y'all over there, y'all Democrats, y'all whatever it is, you know what I mean, the minorities or whatever, and we live in some very divisive times. But I think that even though we're living in these divisive times with this administration, if you do some study and research, it's almost a changing of the total ideals of what America has always said it was about. Whether they live by it or not, you still had some type of American dream. You felt like you could accomplish something. You know what I mean? Whereas those dreams are being, I guess you could say, smashed on a daily basis now. You know, it's almost as if every move that's being made is trying to do away with the Constitution and take this government in a different direction, as opposed to the democratic republic that it's supposed to be. So this president, since he's been in office, day one, he signed like so many executive orders, and it was just ridiculous. You know what I mean? And and it was a few that stood out to me. I be following it, paying attention, and it was a few that stood out to me. And on January 20th, when he got in office, he signed an executive order, and you can look at this up yourself. It was 14164, and it was called Restoring the Death Penalty and Protecting Public Safety. And he spoke about, anyone that kills an officer or whatever should get the death penalty immediately. No ifs, ands, buts about it. You know what I mean? And matter of fact, he brought it up again. If you paid attention this Friday, I believe the president spoke from the Department of Justice, which presidents don't normally do, give hour-long speeches from the Department of Justice. So it's kind of like breaking the usual. But at the same time, to me, it was sending a message. You know what I mean? It was sending a message, and he even went on to say within that message was that he's the chief law enforcement officer in front of law enforcement officers that were there. But I actually have a little part of what he played about what he said about this.
Signed an executive order directing Attorney General to ensure that anyone who murders a police officer immediately, with as fast a trial as we can have, gets the death penalty. And last month, I fired all the radical left pro-crime U.S. attorneys appointed by Joe Biden. There were so many that were bad. And I know there were some that were probably very good, but there were so many that were so bad and so evil, so corrupt. Instead of having Marxist prosecutors who want to put police officers in handcuffs and go after a police officer rather than a criminal, I appointed patriotic, tough-on-crime warriors who will partner with police to put dangerous offenders behind bars, put them in jail. We're fully reviving 1033 program to provide state and local law enforcement with surplus military equipment that we have so much of it. I did it in my last administration, and I remember Obama wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it before me, would not do it, because he thought it made them look too strong, too military. I said, no, that's what I want them to look like. I want them to look strong. And it was protective, defensive equipment. We had billions of dollars. I gave it out, and now I'm going to have a chance to give it out again. They didn't want to do it with Biden, and Biden didn't know why. I didn't, if they would have asked him, he wouldn't have been able to answer the question. He could never answer a question. They said my press conference yesterday was longer than all of Biden's press conferences put together for the last 4 years. And I don't know if that's true, but it was close.
And in that speech that he was giving at the Department of Justice, he spoke about the death penalty and everything. And the particular executive order I was speaking about, 14164, there's a section of that. The executive order is entitled Restoring the Death Penalty and and pay attention, and protecting public safety. And there's a section, it's section 6. And in that section, it's called prosecuting crime to protect communities. And it says, A, the Attorney General shall appropriately prioritize public safety and the prosecution of violent crime and take all appropriate action necessary to dismantle transnational criminal activity in the United States. B, to ensure the fullest protection of American communities from violence. The Attorney General shall encourage state attorneys general and district attorneys to adopt policies and practices aligned with subsection A. Federal law enforcement should coordinate with state and local law enforcement where possible to facilitate these objectives. So some people will say that, okay, this particular executive order was all about those that go at, officers getting the death penalty, or transnational criminal organizations, or like we've been hearing it, illegal immigrants that's here committing crimes, and things of this nature. But you have to look deeper at it. When they say protecting public safety, and under Section C, prosecuting crime to protect communities, this doesn't just apply to illegal immigrants or cartels or transnational criminal organization. This applies to U.S. citizens as well. This applies to your local street gang. This applies to your Crip, your Blood. You understand what I'm saying? This applies to any organization that you can think of that are committing crimes. And that's not to say that every individual that's a part of these organizations are committing crimes, but those that are selling drugs or out here robbing people and all of these type of things, this executive order specifically target those individuals. And how does that tie into rap to me? What genre of music do we hear on a daily basis? Whether it's on the radio or you streaming it somewhere or download it or whatever it is, what genre of music do we hear on a daily basis that encourages crime? All sorts of crime. There's no other genre of music. So this is why I say that rap is a national security threat. They haven't come out and said it themselves yet. But if you look at the details, they used to say the proof is in the pudding. When you look at the details of these executive orders, and I have a couple more that I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through these executive orders. When you look at these executive orders, you will see that it's just a matter of time to where they will start addressing this particular genre of music, or those that follow this genre of music and what it encourages you to do. Yes, drill rap, Sexy Trapper, for sure. If you heard him, he spoke about he's reinstituting the 1033 program. Well, anybody know, if you look it up or whatever, the 1033 program he spoke about it, giving a surplus of military equipment to the police, as far as weapons, vehicles, night sniper goggles, night vision goggles, sniper equipment, anything. Supplying the law enforcement police with more and more military, military equipment. So I ask you, if they're getting the illegals out of here, why is it necessary, if this executive orders is only referring to transnational criminal organizations or the illegal immigrants, if they're getting them out of here, why is this necessary to supply the local law enforcement with more military grade equipment? I tell you why. Because there's about to be a major shift in who the target is. And the target would be these urban communities or even the rural communities where this crime is being committed. And furthermore, I will let you hear him yourself.
Presided over the worst increase in violent crime in our
Speaking about
country
Biden here.
in many decades. We had levels of violence and crime, and a lot of it had to do with the illegal immigrants that came in. Remember when I used to complain about it? Because I knew how tough they were, how mean they were. And they said, no, people that come into our country are all wonderful people. No, they're not wonderful. These are stone cold killers. These are killers they make our killers look nice by comparison. They make our killers look nice. These are rough, tough people with the tattoos all over their face. Historically speaking, I don't want to discriminate against anybody, but historically speaking, they're not going to be the head of any major bank that we know of. These are rough people. These are rough killer people, and they allowed them in by the millions. In major cities like New York, Chicago, and Washington, mothers can't walk their children to the park without fear of being shot or killed or raped or anything. Women can't ride the subway without worrying that a hoodlum will shove them onto the train tracks. In New York, it's happened twice in the last couple of weeks. They're standing there, perfect Wall Street gentleman in one case, and another person who was a worker, good worker, electrician, gets pushed into a train going 45 miles an hour just prior to the train, not stopping, going to go through that. I know the stations very well. I used to take the subway. I used to feel safe. When I was young, I'd go to my parents would drop me off at the subway. I'd take the subway to my school. Can you believe it? Today, they wouldn't be doing that. And we want to get a country back maybe where you can do that again, Pam. But it's so sad to see what's taking place. Under the Biden regime, average monthly homicides increased by 14%. Property crime rose tremendously. Violent crime went up at least 37% that they know of. Rape soared by 42%. Car theft rose by 48%. And robberies surged to 63 to 100%. They don't even know what the number is. And I have no higher mission as President of the United States than to end this killing and stop this law breaking and to making America safe again. And that's what you're all about in this room. We want to protect Americans, and we protect everybody that's in our country, American or not American. We want to have a safe and proud country. We're joined today by dozens of police officers, sheriffs and sheriff's deputies from all across the country. My message to these law enforcement heroes is simple. With me in the White House, you once again have a president who will always have your back, will always have your back. Thank you, folks.
Yeah, you get it, Sexy Trapper. You get it. She says, okay, I get it now. They're going to aim that target at someone else next. Exactly. That's the point. And in their eyes, there's no one, there's no bigger threat or committing more crimes, whether, it's not necessarily true, but in their eyes, there's no one committing more crimes than young black men or so-called minority men living in the major cities throughout this country or even rural areas. And even in my eyes, what I see is like, or what's being portrayed by the media, it's like, damn, they wilding out here. So they're preparing right now. As you see, he said that's his job. As this president, he got law enforcement back. He's going to supply them with everything that they need. And he's going to do what it takes to clean up these streets. So this is why I say that rap music is a national security threat. Again, what other genre of music promotes the violence, the gang banging, the hustling, whatever it is that can be considered something that's detrimental to society, to communities, you can find it in rap music. So this is why I say that rap music is a national security threat. And not only did he issue an executive order 14164, that very same day on January the 20th, he issued an executive order 14161. And in 14161, it was titled Protecting the U.S. from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats. The key word, and other national security and public safety threats. That's Executive Order 14161. Again, directing the focus not only on threats from foreigners that may seek to harm this country, but as well as domestic terrorists. And some people may call domestic terrorists like these white nationalist groups and organizations or whatever. But domestic terrorism can cover anyone that's terrorizing communities here in the United States. So if you in the hood and you doing what you doing and you selling drugs and you robbing people and you shooting up everything, then you can be labeled a domestic terrorist. And what music encourages this type of behavior more than any other genre of music besides rap music? Again, why I say rap music is a threat to national security. On that very day, the president went on. Section Trapper said they sitting back rubbing their hands like Birdman, waiting to declare martial law. And what's crazy, we're going to get into that a little bit. I'm not going to hold y'all long, but we're going to get into that a little bit as well, because something took place yesterday that was crazy. And I don't know if, sometimes people be on this app and they be paying attention to other things in their different sectors or whatever, but not paying attention to what these people are doing. But this very same day, he issued another executive order, Executive Order 14157. And that's when he designated cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations, and specifically designated global terrorists. And he went into detail in that executive order talking about the cartels, which now you know that Mexico been cooperating with the United States. Got like, I think maybe a few weeks ago, like 29 head cartel leaders, and they sent them to the United States. He spoke about the Venezuelan gangs. He spoke about TDA, MS-13, and all of that. But what I'm saying is, these young brothers, sisters, whoever that's out there, whatever organizations you're a part of, you're next. You're next. Don't believe for a second that these executive orders only apply to foreigners. Anyone that's out here committing crimes, doing anything that disturbs the peace of communities, you're next. And what music, again, I ask, what music promotes this type of activity other than rap music? This is why I say rap music is a national security threat. And it's just a matter of time before the attack on rap music, or those that are perpetrators of these activities from being influenced by rap music, it's just a matter of time before they come down hard on it. And most of the time, I can't when I look at things that take place, I can't just say that, damn, they just messing with us. You know what I mean? They just fucking with us. You know what I mean? Because that's what we're gonna holler, man. Why are they just messing with? Because we black. Because we black. You know what I mean? That's our go-to line. You know what I mean? Because we black. But then when you look at just recently, I looked at some activity, man. I be, checking out social media or whatever, and I saw something that was very, very disturbing. Now, these were kids in Memphis that tried to get, they were black kids that tried to get another black kid for some sneakers. So trying to rob this kid of some sneakers led to a whole shootout in broad daylight. And if you pay attention, it was another little kid, could have been no more than 10, 11 years old, right in this group of kids right here. These are young black kids out here doing this. So you tell me, what is influencing kids this young in age to get out here and conduct themselves like that? I guarantee you, 90% would agree that these kids are heavily influenced by rap music, as well as their environment. Some would say poverty, you know what I mean? Some would say they immature or whatever. But yeah, I was growing up in poverty at that age. I may have been immature, you know what I mean? I wanted sneakers and all of that, but nothing even never even crossed my mind to get out there like that. And this is the type of conduct that they are about to clamp down on. And again, I say rap music encourages this, sliding on this person, your ops this and smoking on this person and all of this type of stuff, totally disrespecting those, those the dead, and I see what you say, catch up. I feel it start with the parents and what they allow them to do. And I was going to get into that as well. And I'm going to get into that. True. I'm going to get into that. But all I'm saying is it's hard to say that when they do direct the attention towards the black communities and what's going on and the crime and all that, how can we argue with that when we see things like this?
Old man's face in Morris Heights before demanding cash. Now, less than an hour later, they slashed a 40-year-old man in Fordham in the face and tried to rob him. Old man's face in Morris Heights before demanding cash. Now, less than an hour later, they slashed a 40-year-old man in Fordham in the face and tried to rob him.
Now, this was in New York. The other was in Memphis. This is in New York. 3 teenagers, youngsters running around, slashing people in the face, trying to rob them, things of this nature. They look like they may have been Puerto Rican, black, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? All I know is these are young, look like teenagers in New York City. We see Memphis, we see New York City. I'm down in the Dallas area. Every day is something new. Kids getting shot. Sleeping in a room, all type of things. Every single day is some type of crime. And I'm willing to say, I don't need any statistics to tell me anything. I can eyeball this thing because I've been out there. You know what I mean? Like if you've ever been in a game, you know what I mean? Sometimes you ain't need no scale. You can eyeball it. So when it comes to this, I can eyeball it. I know 100% that these not no gospel listeners. They ain't listening to no country. They damn sure ain't listening to no rock and roll. These kids are getting this from this rap music, whether it's the parents allow them, whatever. You cannot play a single song in your house, but when they hit the streets and get with them partners and go to school, they're going to hear this type of music. And this is why I say rap music is a national security threat, because the influence that it's having on these children and how it's going to make this administration direct attention strictly at us. he had already talked about, people were speaking about profiling and all of that. He did away with that. There's no more just profiling. These people got the right to do whatever they want to do. They got, like he said, he's the chief law enforcement officer in this country. He got law enforcement back. They can do whatever they want to do. So all this crying about civil rights and all that, you can see that's gradually being taken away. So unless we get ahead of this and try to form some type of unity and speak out against this, we're going to see a lot of our kids, young teenagers, heading to the penitentiary, if not the grave, by what they're doing to one another. And why I say that law enforcement is feeling more and more empowered. I was looking at something, and of course I deal with it on a daily basis, not just law enforcement, just particular people in general. I had a little run-in with someone yesterday coming out of a store, you know what I mean? And white boy in a truck, you know what I mean? For some reason, I don't know what these trucks do to their ego, but it was a white boy in the truck, anyway, it didn't go into anything, but I'm just coming out of the store. I had no ill intentions. I let him get by. He stopped right in front of him, stared me down, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm staring him down type shit. He pull up, and anyway, nothing happened. It was just the whole attitude, but anyway. But again, people are feeling empowered, emboldened by having this president in office, and for example,
my Second Amendment, my third, my fourth, my fifth. Damn, how you got it? Put your fucking hands on me, that motherfucker. I did. Now you're going to jail. I did.
Get your stuff here. Go get your stuff. Go get your stuff here. Go get your stuff here.
Damn.
Put your hand behind your back.
Why you do that?
Put your hand behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
Behind them.
Put your hands behind your back.
Yo, they just fucked me up.
No, you caused that shit. You caused it.
No, I didn't.
Always.
I didn't touch him.
Yes, the fuck you did.
No, I didn't. Yo, bro, you just punched the shit out of me, bro. Listen.
All the time.
Get off my truck.
All the time.
Get off my
All the time.
hands on me.
All the
Bro, you
fucking
just
time.
fucked me up, bro.
All the time.
Bro, you just fucked me up. You just fucked me up, and I ain't come out here to you. You know you just.
Now this brother here, he in his house with his sister. I don't know what went on to, have the police come over, whatever. But he's clearly got a water bottle in one hand, and he's talking and screaming about his constitutional rights and all of these things. And the law just, bam, you saw it. You know what I mean? Let me play it again.
My Second Amendment, my third, my fourth, my fifth. Damn, how you got it? Put your fucking hands on me, that motherfucker. I did. Now you're going to jail. I did.
Get your stuff here. Go get your stuff. Go get your stuff here. Go get your stuff here.
Damn.
Put your hand behind your back.
Why you do that?
Put your hand behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
Behind them.
Put your hands behind your back.
Yo, they just fucked me up.
No, you caused that shit. You caused it.
No, I didn't.
Always.
I didn't touch him.
Yes, the fuck you did.
No, I didn't. Yo, bro, you just punched the shit out of me, bro. Listen.
All the time.
Get off my truck.
All the time.
Get off my
All the time.
hands on me.
All the
Bro, you
fucking
just
time.
fucked me up, bro.
All the time.
Bro, you just fucked me up. You just fucked me up, and I ain't come out here to you. You know you just.
Now we see he clearly didn't hit that officer. You know what I mean? But, that's their normal response. After they know they did something, is either stop resisting, or make up some other type of lie, But what I'm saying is we're going to find ourselves in situations like this more and more as time goes on under this administration, because of course, we know, it don't matter what administration was in, we still had to deal with, brothers being handled in the streets by officers, so on and so forth. But it's reasonable to assume that there's going to be a rise in that type of conduct towards young black men in this country. Why? For one, the Trump administration, there was a site that if an officer had conducted himself in some way and broke rules or whatever, where he would go on this federal site to where other law enforcement agencies would know that, okay, if we hire him, he's already committed certain abuses, so on and so forth. Well, he immediately comes in and they take that down. You know what I mean? So there's no tracking this type of conduct from these officers. No one says anything about being anti-police. That never came out of my mouth. I believe we're all pro-police. You know what I mean? But the majority of the conduct that we see that happens from these officers, we're not pro that. You understand what I'm saying? And we can't keep saying there's a few bad apples. Well, a few bad apples can spoil the whole bunch if you leave them in there long enough. You know what I mean? And who am I to sit back and try to pick out which one is a few bad apple? Who am I when they all dressed alike? So whenever I encounter any one of them, I have to reasonably assume that anything like this could happen to me. That's what I'm saying. But my whole point was this, is that we have to become more vigilant. We have to try to change this narrative, this idea about young black men. We have to do something about this rap music, the direction that is going, because at this point, it's a very serious threat to national security. Even the image that we have when they see us, or we're this genre of music that we listen to, we have to try our best to try to change this. And not just because of any threat from officers or anything of that nature, but if we just want to survive as a people, man, we have to begin to do something about these things. So what I did, I try to pay attention to, like I said again, it's just not law enforcement. You see a lot of people feeling emboldened, empowered, that shares the same ethnicity or racial classification as this president. You know what I mean? You just see it, and sometimes we try to ignore it, go on like nothing ever happened or whatever. But these things are happening all over this country, man. And I was looking at something the other day, and matter of fact, it was yesterday. I was looking at this, and this really, really bothered me, man.
Before I finish this video, a little bit of backstory. This happened at Meadow Woods Elementary in Orlando, Florida at a kindergarten graduation. The woman that you saw spitting was upset that the black woman came and sat down by her man and just by her family in general. So this is how the rest of the video went. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
Yes, sir. There's a seat here.
Just leave her alone. She's still.
There's a seat. There's a seat here.
You can record all day.
There's a seat here.
You see? It's not space.
Look, exactly. We're all sitting. It's all right.
But it's not space.
You're sitting, sir.
Did I give you permission?
You are right, but
Okay, but can you move? Can you move,
Oh my
please?
God! No, I'm not
I'm
moving.
not giving you permission to record.
No,
So can
I'm
you
not
move?
moving. No, I'm not moving.
You have to tell me you're recording. You're not even
No, I
calling
don't
me.
have to tell.
I will fucking kill
No,
you.
but
Kill me.
no vas mierda, bro. Hostia, esto es algo.
Ya está, no, quédate ahí.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
She just spit in my face.
No vas mierda. Can you move, please? Because I was sitting here and she came here. Can you move, please?
So you're sitting, I'm sitting, there's
No,
space.
you came to my space.
Sir, we're all sitting.
We are in that
Okay, I know, but she came to.
Now this is at a elementary school, middle school graduation. Black family, woman trying to sit down or whatever. And this happens, man. Why? Why? Was she a threat? Well, I mean, why did they go to that extent just because a woman, a black woman, is trying to sit next to them, bro? But then I also saw the potential for other things to happen in a situation like that. Had I been there, for example, had I been there and this took place, what would have happened? Me knowing me, what would have happened? You understand what I'm saying? But you're seeing this type of uptick in conduct like this all throughout this country. And I noticed whoever Infamous is, nobody ever showed the videos when a simple traffic stop police have gotten unalive. Well, you're welcome to go pull it up, shoot it to me, and I'll show it. But right now, that's not what I'm talking about. Or you're welcome to start your own live and you can show it and I'll pull up and check it out. But my question is, in 2025, why is this type of conduct still going, or there's more of it taking place? And one of the reasons is because of this divisive energy that this president has put out here. It's this divisive energy, man. So we have to be more vigilant. We have to be more conscious of our surroundings, what's going on, not afraid to stand up for one another, you know, no matter what the sacrifice may be. And this ain't just on no racial shit or none of that. You know, if it was a white woman, Mexican, whoever got treated like that and spit in the face, I would have had something to say. 9 times out of 10, I would do something. You know what I mean? But another thing that caught my attention that had me questioning like what's going on in this country, you see a lot of and this was even happening last year. Some young black men were being hung from trees and things of this nature. But just recently here, I was looking at this, and
Mounted. The bodies of twin brothers found in Towns County near the North Carolina line, 90 miles from their home in Lawrenceville. The GBI initially investigating this as a murder-suicide, but tonight the family says they're not buying it. 11 Alive's Cody Alcorn spoke with them just a few hours ago. He's live for us in our newsroom with more on this investigation and what the family has to say, Cody.
Well, Jennifer, the brothers Kydir and Nazir Lewis were twins. The GBI says a hiker found their bodies at the top of Bell Mountain on Saturday morning. Both had been shot. The family couldn't believe it when they got the call hours later, knowing the twin brothers were supposed to be in Boston visiting friends.
We want answers. We want to know exactly what happened to the twins.
Nazir and Kydir Lewis.
Those my nephews.
Just a few weeks shy of their 20th birthday.
I can get past it, they're gone.
The twins' uncle, Raheem Bronner.
They're very protective of each other. They love each other. They're like inseparable. So I couldn't imagine them hurting each other because I never even seen them get into a fist fight before.
The GBI saying their preliminary investigation points to the twins' death being a murder-suicide.
We knew right away that wasn't true.
Family says the twins had a 7 a.m. flight to Boston last Friday.
Right there, we never heard from them. They missed their flight. We don't know what happened.
24 hours later, the twins' body found 90 miles away.
How they end out in the mountains, they don't hike out there. They've never even been out there. They don't know nothing about Hiwassee, Georgia. They never even heard of Bell Mountains. So how did they end up right there?
A mystery this family is trying to solve.
They had a huge support system. Like, we know them that they wouldn't do anything like this. So to say that they did this to each other when they come from a family of love, and they love each other, they always together, we don't believe that. They didn't do this to each other. Something happened in those mountains, and we want answers.
I did reach out to the GBI tonight. A spokesperson says the twins' autopsies is finished, but they're awaiting additional forensic testing to be finished, as well as the investigation portion of this, before they issue a final ruling on the brothers' causes of death.
So these two young men supposed to be going to Boston, catching a flight, don't make the flight, end up 90 miles away in the mountains, dead. The preliminary ruling was that one killed the other, then killed himself. As far as I know, and what I've been trying to find out more about, what did they drive up there and then decide to kill themselves? Was a car found or anything? You know what I mean? But thinking like I think, I don't know if others think the same way or what. You have an idea. you have an idea, at least of what the family is thinking. You have an idea. Because these type of things take place all over this country and don't get, national attention, man. You know what I mean? It just doesn't get national attention. So again, man, we have to be vigilant, aware of your surroundings. It's sad to say, not too friendly, not too welcoming, especially when you're out and about in the dark, especially women. We know a lot of women coming up missing in this country. So we have to be very, very vigilant and be aware. Don't be fooled or thinking that, look, this can't happen to me or this can't happen to my children, because it can. But anyway, with all of these events that have been taking place or whatever, man, it just makes me, it seems like there's so many battlefields that we're facing. For one, we got to deal with crime in the hoods, or not even in the hoods, just in general, from people that look like you. You have to worry about officers. Then you have to worry about some racist groups or whatever out here you have to deal with. Then you have to worry about just normal, ordinary, racist people you have to deal with. That's a lot of pressure being a black man or a black woman here in America, man. You know what I mean? Then it's a lot of pressure to put on your children to make them be vigilant and aware and conscious of things, but it's a must for our survival, for your survival, for their survival, that we stay conscious of these things and remain aware. Yeah, I need to hear the backstory as well, but I don't think it's too much. Two young men was going to Boston. They didn't get on the plane. You know what I mean? And end up in the mountains dead, but again, we can't just say 100% anything happened. But in my mind, I had to take it off from, the history of other situations and cases like this, But again, getting back to what I was saying, far as this administration in the direction that they're going, and why I believe that rap music is a national security threat. this president asked for, if you watch the when he addressed the nation, he asked for a new crime bill. And if anyone, was in the 90s or whatever, was wilding out, which I was or whatever, we know what that crime bill did. We know all about Joe Biden being behind the crime bill and Bill Clinton signing it and all those things. So it's almost like they're trying to bring that back as well. And that bill was directly targeted at young black males. And we're giving them the proof, the evidence, whatever they need to say, hey, this is why this is necessary. And what promotes this more than anything to give them what they need is rap music. You don't hear any outcry about this rap music. You don't hear anybody approaching these labels, these artists that done got rich off of it. Nobody's saying anything about this rap music. So me, I've been in this industry, like I said, I've been around it, I've promoted shows or whatever. And sometimes, trying to get the bag, get in the way of your conscience, you know what I mean? And I told myself, man, I can no longer do that, man. I can't throw out my rationale. I can't throw out what I see because I want to try to get money. You know what I mean? So I took it upon myself to start, and I didn't make it a nonprofit organization. I made it a business. I didn't make it a nonprofit organization. I made it a business here in the state of Texas. And I did my certificate of filing, and it's called People Against Negative Images and Content. P.A.N.I.C is the acronym in rap music. So I took it upon myself to do this, to be more outspoken about what's going on in this rap music. I mean, it's in its infancy right now, just starting, but it's a nonprofit / business. And the reason why I made it a business is because when you removing something, you have to replace it with something. And trying to hire young men and get them out of this at a nonprofit is very difficult. But if I can get them a job and get them in an environment around men that think like me, that works at this business and the things that we'll be selling and doing and places we'll be going, maybe even on a smaller level, we can make a difference, we can make a change. But the idea of this People Against Negative Images and Content in rap music, it's not small, because I've already began a letter writing campaign to the major labels. I do know some artists that are still, I still remain in touch with, that I've been shooting them a few things and trying to discuss, look, man, what we need to do to try to make this go in a different direction, because we're losing generations. We're losing them to the graveyard, and we're losing them to incarceration. And with this administration and the way that rap music is, we're going to lose more and more, man. Myself, I'm 52 years old. My days of, out here or whatever is over with. You know what I'm saying? I'm more concerned about the future of my grandchildren and other children that I see out here. So one of the main goals and focus the main goal and focus of P.A.N.I.C is try to put some pressure on these artists below, the labels above, the local politicians, whatever state that you're in or whatever. If you're as concerned as I am concerned, then I ask that you join me. You join me with P.A.N.I.C, and let's see what we can do. Let's organize and see what we can do to try to change the trajectory. Because if we don't do something to stop our youth, they're going to do something with them. They're loading it up right now. If we don't do something, they're going to do something. And what they're going to do is going to affect generations to come, because they're not playing. And I know, some people don't want to, you know, they like, man, that's a wild idea. Man, that shit ain't gonna work and whatever. Okay, fine. Well, just stay on the sidelines. Don't tell me what's not gonna work. I know how to build something from nothing. You know what I mean? I was incarcerated 25 years, stepped out and built something from nothing. You know what I mean? Where some people was out here the whole 25 years and didn't build anything. So don't tell me about building nothing. I don't want to hear nothing negative about this. There's enough negativity as it is. That's what we're trying to stop. So if you don't support it, you don't want to get on board, then fine, just stay out my way. And then some adults are just selfish. They like the music themselves so much that they're willing to sacrifice the future of their own kids because they like the music. And that's selfish because you see the effects of it. You know what's going on, but you think you immune to it. You think your household immune to it, your children immune to it. Yeah, they may not be the ones out there pulling the trigger, but what if they get caught in the crossfire? Think about that. So don't, as an adult, be selfish because you like it. You know, you have to think about what it's doing to these kids, to these young men. And that's why I ask anybody and everybody, join in with me on trying to push this panic, people against negative images and content in rap music, trying to push it to its pinnacle and beyond, whatever we can do to put pressure, because no other genre of music is allowed to be promoted and sold like this. You know, I did a couple of lives back. I talked about when a young man here in Texas back in like 92 shot a state trooper, killed him. And he said he was listening to the Tupac song, Soldier Story. You know what I mean? And immediately police associations and everything came out against rap music. Why? Because certain songs were putting the attention and the target on officers. So what did the record labels do? They pulled the song. They pulled Ice-T, Cop Killer, pulled it off the shelf. They pulled the song, you know, and I don't want to hear nothing about no freedom of speech and all of this type. Listen, you don't have freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech. No, you have freedom to say stuff that's detrimental to you, but you don't have the freedom to say something that's detrimental to other individuals that hold positions of power in this country. So I don't want to hear nothing about no freedom of speech or anything of that nature. So I ask anybody that's listening now that may look at this video later or whatever, and look, contact me, join with me. You can contact me at racistentertainment1999 at Gmail. You can text me at the number that's scrolling below. You know what I mean? And if you want to support the cause, I don't get on here, ask for no money, none of this. Everything that I've been trying to do, I've been doing it from my very, very hard-earned money. You know what I mean? And others that help me, that's around me. You know what I mean? But I would like to build this at least to the point where we get the website up. You know what I mean? Get more promo gear, get this message out, you know, to support P.A.N.I.C, man. People against negative images and content. And one thing before I get out of here, I want to speak about is another reason why we have to pay attention and consider this rap music a national security threat is just yesterday, I believe yesterday, it was yesterday, President Trump, he enacted the Aliens Enemy Act of 1798. And it basically, he tried to apply it to the Venezuelan gangs or whatever, saying that they have invaded this country and he need these wartime powers to not have to give them like the rights of citizens to be deported or whatever. He can just round them up, send them out or whatever. Well, judge stepped in and put it on pause and say, hold up, we need to have a hearing about this. But you can see that the mindset of this president is totally different. This man tried to invoke an act that hasn't been used only but 3 times in this country, and it was at serious wartime. back in 1798, in World War I and World War II. So this man tried to assume wartime powers in 2025 based off of Venezuelan gangs supposedly have invaded this country, and they are aliens. So he need the powers of a wartime president. So you have to ask yourself, like, what is next? You see a lot of protests going on all over right now. There's a lot of protests going on throughout the world. Pay attention. If you look, matter of fact, I was looking at one over in Belgrade, Serbia. I was looking at one in Budapest. These people are protesting because they're trying to have democracy, whereas we're here and our democracy is being stripped away on a daily basis, and we are ignoring it. But you have some people that these town halls, and they're speaking out against what Elon Musk is doing and Trump and all of this. But if you see the mindset of this president with the attempt to invoke the Aliens Enemy Act, who's to say he doesn't come back with the Sedition Act? You know what I mean? To where it's criminalized if you speak or criticize the U.S. government, or the Insurrection Act. Like they used the Insurrection Act back. I think the last time they used this back was during the Rodney King thing back in the early 90s, 92, I believe it was. But you can see that this is the direction that he's going. So don't believe that anything is beyond this administration. Don't believe for a moment that rap music isn't considered a national security threat, but they're not saying anything. Why? Because they need this type of conduct to continue so they can come down more and more, heavier and harder. They need these young men out shooting each other in the street. They need them going back and forth on these records about what they're going to do to one another. They use it in court. They use their lyrics in court against them. We've seen this. Young Thug, we see other rappers, they use the lyrics in court. So they need this. And at the same time, feed the narrative that we're out of control. So this is why I say that Panic, People Against Negative Images and Content in Rap Music, is very much needed. And I need your support. I think young Black men don't know it. They need your support. So if you're willing and you're able to help support far as getting together, let's run ideas by one another, helping me with this letter campaign, email campaign, just coming up with feasible ideas to try to attack this problem that no one else seemed to want to address because it may affect their bag or their image or whatever. I myself, I have nothing to lose. If I'm gonna do anything, I'd rather do it for a good cause, because I done did enough dumb shit in my life. And with that being said, I'm gonna end this. I appreciate each and every one of you that took time out of your day to listen to me. Infamous, my apologies if I misunderstood anything that you said. You pro police, fine. I am as well when they doing the right thing. Sexy Trapper, thank you for being here. Queen 88, of course, thank you always. Love you. Blind Barber 85, salute. Catch Up, salute. Who else came through for me today? That's pretty much it right now. But again, I think, So Trollific, salute. Thank you very much. Again, I say that we need to get ahead of this situation. We need to do what we can do as a people, whether you white, Black, whatever it is. I don't give a damn. If you see the effects and the influence that this rap music is having on the youth, and not just Black youth, you have these white kids, Mexican kids, all of them running around, wanting to slide on somebody and switches and put their ops in songs, and some of them live in the suburbs. You know what I mean? But whatever it is that we can do to try to put an end to this and allowing this type of music to be promoted or even supported, and targeted at our youth, then I really, really appreciate y'all help. Thank you. And until next time, y'all have a wonderful evening.